slipping on me. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona, the big one is out. Good evening, race fans. My name is Jacob Fescannon here with Team Goon Squad. We are here back with another round of the Crazy Dog T-Shirts Xfinity Series here at the virtual Richmond Raceway, and we are going to be bringing you 100 laps of exciting action. Drivers are done with qualifying. Drivers are starting to work their way onto the track. Reminder again, these drivers have 2 sets of tires, a full tank of fuel, and 1 fast repair at their disposal. See what these drivers are going to do tonight, see if we can try to keep it as clean as we had at the last round last weekend at Las Vegas, or if these drivers are going to be in for some heated battles of short track racing. We've got 17 cars out on the grid for tonight, so we are going to get you rolling into the grid, get you that while the drivers all make their way out and begin their pace laps to get the event filed and ready to go. Let's pull up the grid, walk you through that. We've got starting on the pole is the number 02 of Craig Janczyk. Outside of him, rolling off in the number 2 spot is the 135 of Zachary Thornton. Qualifying third tonight is our 77 Chevy Camaro, Brian Lorenzo. Outside of him is going to be the number 91 Chevy Camaro of Kevin Kirchar. Outside of him, or back in row number 3, we've got on the inside the 81 of Harley Berletta, and on the outside is going to be your number 48 driver, Will Cloud. Back in row number 4, yet to make his way out on the track is going to be the 64 of Brett Murphy. Outside of him is going to be the 20 of Brady Floyd. Back in 5th row, starting in 9th, is the 69 of Justin Gainham, and William Mann Jr. is going to be rolling off as your 10th place starter on the outside of row 5. Back in row number 6, we've got the number 39 of Cam Anderson. Outside of him is going to be the 59 of Andy Ferrante. He's going to be rolling off 12th. Back through the rest of the field, we've got the 83 of Dan Oliver rolling off in 13th tonight, and Robert Wynn is going to be rolling off in, or excuse me, Derek Stanley is going to be rolling off in 14th, a 19 vehicle tonight. Robert Wynn is going to be rolling off in 15th, the 16 Ford Mustang, and outside of him is going to be the 15 of Joe Gregory in the Toyota Supra rolling off in 16th tonight. Rounding out our 17 car field is going to be the number 73 of Topher Baltimore. It's going to complete your starting grid tonight, get all drivers around the track as they all work their way for their pace laps tonight. Again, we're doing 100 laps. One set or two sets of tires for these drivers. See what they have in store for us tonight. Should be some good battles here at the virtual Richmond Raceway. It's a 3/4 D-shaped oval with moderate banking. A couple different lanes, but drivers will probably be favoring the bottoms of the corners, through the corners, or into the corners, and then coming back out against the wall. But we should be seeing some good side-by-side racing. So see what we can get out of these drivers tonight. Pace car will be pulling off this time, and we will be unleashing these drivers. Janzik's gonna have control. Looks like he's choosing to start on the outside. Zachary Thornton's on the inside. They are off and rolling. Green flags in the air. Looks like Thornton's going to try to get a little bit of a better run going into turn number 1. Janzik's got a little bit of an advantage. We'll see if he can get that momentum down the back stretch and be able to clear Thornton. Remember, Thornton had an issue early on last week at Las Vegas, losing it off of turn 2 early on in lap 2. We'll see if he can keep it cleaner. Brian Lorenzo's looking to insert himself into this battle as the front 3 is broken away a little bit from the rest of the field. We got side-by-side back from the rest of the field. We'll see how this shakes out. Clean so far. Janzik's looking to stretch his lead out over Lorenzo and Thornton. He's got about a 3/10 lead over Lorenzo as they come across the line to complete lap number 2. Front 3 have kind of stretched out a little bit, so we're going to go back as they work their way. We've got side-by-side between the 81 of Harley Valletta and the 64 of Brett Murphy. You see Murphy working outside as he works their way to turn number 3. Harley Valletta working the inside, trying to close up to the back of Kevin Chard in the 91. Looks like Murphy's got a little bit of a connection issue. You kind of see his car disappear, come back in. It's what we call blinking. Something where when the drivers have a bit of an internet connection issue, then iRacing's not quite sure where they're at on the track, not where we're sure to put them, so they'll kind of momentarily disappear and reappear. You can see also on top of that, 20 of Brady Floyd is working his way into this battle, so we've got a 4-car battle from 4th through 7th on the track. A couple drivers even behind are trying to close their way into it. Jump back up to the front though, because quickly Brian Lorenzo has inserted himself into the battle lead. He's cut the gap down to just 1 car length as they work their way on the front stretch. Janzik's working the higher line. Lorenzo's going to try to go up to the outside as they enter turn number 1. We'll see if he tries to cut underneath Janzik off in turn number 2. Pulls up even with them. You see Thornton trying to angle these back with both Janzik and Lorenzo. He's doing pretty good. He's about a car length back. Loses a little bit of drive off compared to Lorenzo out of turn number 4 down the front stretch, so he may be driving it just a little bit deeper, trying to close up and not able to get on the throttle quite as early. But you see Lorenzo all over the back end of Janzik. Oh, Thornton tags the wall a little bit in the middle of the back stretch. That's going to slow him up a little bit. Allows Janzik and Lorenzo to pull away ever so slightly. Lorenzo's maintaining about a car length of a gap back to Janzik. Janzik not being deterred so far, staying his line. See how this battle continues to unfold. These drivers working their way on the backstretch for lap number 8 of 100 tonight. This front 3 definitely separated though from the rest of the field, and even the rest of the field is starting to string out a little bit as drivers kind of feel their way. Still in the very, very early stages of this run, but every driver trying to kind of feel it out in a little comfortable spot. You see Janzik closing up to the back bumper, Lorenzo closing up the back bumper of Janzik. Keeps trying to duck the nose out of the 2 on the backstretch, but then falls back in line with Janzik. Seems to be running well so far. Both drivers are doing a great job. We've seen them be the class of the field so far this season. Very early on, only on the 2nd race of the schedule. Both drivers certainly job. Janzik has been known to hold the lead early on, and Lorenzo has certainly made a name for himself, charging hard through the field. We saw him starting back in Las Vegas, worked his way up to a great show at the end of the race. Gaps maintained right around a tenth and a half to 2/10, which equates to anywhere from half a car length to about a car length and a half or so. You see Lorenzo and Janzik kind of having a little bit of ebb and flow. As both drivers kind of pull apart from each other, coming back together. Good lap up here at the front territory as we work our way on the backstretch. Lap 12. Way up, trying to insert himself back into this battle for the top 2 spots. He had that momentary mishap getting into the wall out of turn 2, but really has cleaned up since then, so great job by him. Both of these cars are separated by about a car length and a half or so on the track. Let's see if it continues to stay that way. Not sure if any of them are pushing hard tires. Saving definitely will be another factor here, just like last week at Las Vegas. If you drive too hard, driving too deep, easy to wear out the right front, and it's much tougher to be able to turn off of the corners as you wear out that right front. But you also don't want to use the brake rears and get on the gas pedal too hard coming out of the corners, because you can easily heat up the right rear as you do that, and if you do that, it will make your night a much longer night and much more difficult to get off of the corners without spinning out at all or even sliding. Anytime you slide, you're losing forward momentum, and other drivers that can be catching or going by you. Let's see, all 3 drivers separated by about a quarter of a second apiece. Thornton's fallen back a little bit. He's about 4/10 back off of Lorenzo. As I say that, Lorenzo falls back just a little bit. Thornton tries to clear his way. It's like Harley Valletta 81 has broken away from the rest of the field, trying to see if he can get himself up to this battle, but he's got about a second to close down to be able to get to the back of Zachary Thornton. So got his work cut out for him early on as we're working lap number 17. Clean so far. We saw the same thing happen last week. Almost the entire race and had a very late race caution. So drivers have been known to be very clean and very respectful early on. We'll see if that continues this week here at Richmond, or if patience and calmness goes the way of tempers and frustration. Drivers start to get into each other a little bit, maybe make some more aggressive moves for passes on the track. Lorenzo looks like he might have had a bit of a moment bouncing off the outside retaining wall out of turn 2. Kind of similar situation that we saw to Zachary Thornton, so that allows Thornton to close up. He's in the $135 General Toyota Supra, trying to get to the back of Lorenzo, who's in the 77 Chevy Camaro. Let's see if Thornton can put any pressure on Lorenzo. Looks like it's also allowing Janzik to pull away. He's stretched the lead out to almost the second now. Thornton all over the back of the bumper of Lorenzo as they work their way out of turn number 4 back onto the front stretch. Completed 19 laps here, working the lap number 20. So the laps are moving off quickly and ferociously. Everybody's clean so far. Only one that's had an issue is the 69 of Justin Gaina, making an unscheduled stop on the pit road. So he's currently scored his 5 laps down in 17. We saw Thornton able to cross over underneath. Lorenzo takes second place away as they work their way back into turn number 2. See if Thornton can try to break away from Lorenzo. He's going to maintain that. He's got about a full second to close down to Janzik in order to get back to him. Certainly a good battle on the track. It's actually one of our closest battles. Actually, we're going to go back at the 16 of Robert Wynn, who's in 10th right now, battling the 83 of Dan Oliver. He's in the Haas Ford Mustang out there. You see Robert Wynn in the number 16 Ford Mustang. These two are running on track for 10th and 11th as they work their way back into turn number 1. Robert Wynn up 5 spots for a 15th place start. Dan Oliver also up 2 spots from a 13th place start. Oliver has a little bit of a moment, getting a little bit loose off the turn number 2, dives him down to the bottom of the track. Oftentimes that can be a sign of somebody that may have had a little bit too much wheel into it. Either him just turning a bit too late, or he could have possibly already started to wear out that great front tire and had a lot more left to wheel into the car. The car was sliding like it was almost kind of on ice, and all of a sudden the front tires ripped, and all at once they shot the car back down the track as he had that left wheel. Looks Looks like he might have had a brush up with the wall as well as we look at that right front. Looks like that right front is crinkled in a little bit. You can see some damage there on the front, right front of the hood, in front of the wheel. Splitter's kind of bent up a little bit around the headlight area down below. So you can usually get away with a little bit of damage here, but you don't want to be doing too much before you start bending suspension and steering components in the front, which can cause issues. So see if that affects it at all. 9 of Annie Ferrante is trying to insert him into this battle as well. Looks like he dives to the inside of Oliver as they work their way back across the start-finish line to see if he can try to put that Ford Mustang MSI machine underneath of Quinn to take away, or underneath of Oliver to take away the 11th spot. Got a couple drivers too lined up behind. Looks like Gregory, Tim from Baltimore, Cam Anderson, and Derek Stanley are all running nose to tail for 13th or 16th on track. You see Ferrante trying to continue to work to the inside of Dan Oliver as they work their way through. Trying to do the best that he can to see if he can get by him. Got fans out there. Appreciate everybody tuning in to watch this. Love all of the fan interaction and involvement. Glad to see everybody out there. Looks like we've got one fan out there for Dan Oliver, so let's get a good chance to see him. Try to improve a little bit. Ferrante was able to get back by him. It looks like Joe Gregory. That's just Gainham moving by him. Jake Gainham again 5 laps down, so those fresher tires able to make a little bit of a difference. Oliver's got about half a second until Joe Gregory's able to get back by him. So most of the field's kind of spread out a little bit. Get back up, check on your leader. Take this time as we approach the third way to do a rundown. Looks like Jansix just laying some people down. He's got Norton trying to track by him, but he goes by the 19th. Derek Stanley puts him a lap down, and he's quickly working under the inside of Cam Anderson into 39. Mountain Dew Chevy Camaro puts him a lap down as well as he crosses the line to complete lap 29, beginning lap 30. Jackson on crew control has a little bit under a second and a quarter lead over Thornton. So he's certainly checking out the field and trying to let everybody know that he is here and he means business tonight. Work our way back through the field again. Zachary Thornton, your $135 General Total Super is running in second. He's got about a second gap back to Lorenzo. So started second, able to battle his way back to second after Lorenzo made a little bit of an early race charge, and certainly trying to do his best to recover from what was a less than stellar race last week, and I'm sure that was not anywhere near to his personal expectations. So Thornton doing a good job running in second again. Our third place starter, driving number 77, Chevy Camaro, is Ryan Lorenzo. He's running in third place. It's about just under 3 seconds back from Jancic in the lead, so he may have pushed a little hard off the start, or he may have decided to back off and try to save the tires as they work their way around, approaching the 1/3 mark of this race. Back and forth, we've got the driver number 81 Ford or Chevy Camaro, that is Harley Valletta, and the Crazy Dog t-shirt Chevy Camaro sponsored machine. He's up one spot for the fifth third running fourth, so doing a good job taking advantage of that front starting spot. Track position can be important here at times in Richmond. Passing can be a bit difficult. We also see a lot of green flag runs that often bring a lot of pit strategy in. So starting up in the front of the field is very important. So Barletta making the most of that on one spot. Back in fifth, we've got the driver of the 20 Mustang. That's Brady Floyd. He's made a good move up 3 spots. 8th place spot tonight. Doing pretty good. He's engaged in a little bit of a battle with the 91 of Kevin Kuchar. You can see Kuchar trying to close back up. He's got about a quarter of a second advantage over Kuchar as they work their way back down into turn number 1. Focused here while this battle is heating up on the track. Again, Floyd up 8 spots. We'll see if he can use the 19 of Stanley to his advantage. Stanley gets out of the way, lets these two by on the inside. Great respectful driving by these two so far. All the lap cars have been very respectful as well, you see. Floyd able to use that a little bit to his advantage, pull away. Chart has the gap up to almost 4/10 now. He's going to be quickly working to the number 39 of Cam Anderson. Anderson dives to the bottom. Oh, Anderson almost gets into the left side of Kuchar. Both cars able to work by. Caused a little bit of problem, allows Floyd to pull away. Team Car move back through the field. Again, Kuchar is running in the 6th place. He unfortunately is down a couple spots from a 4th place start tonight, but still maintaining a top 10 run and has quite a bit of a gap over number 7th place runner, 48 of Will Cloud. He's got just a little over almost 2.25 seconds, so comfortably sitting in 6th place. Going to see if he can try to reel the number 20 of Brady Floyd back in. Again, we mentioned the driver of the 48 Pepsi Chevy Camaro is Will Cloud. He's down just 1 spot from 6th place on here, but he's looking to make room. He's dealing with lap traffic. Certainly trying to get himself a good finish as well for tonight, see if he can start inserting himself back into the points battle this season. Up 2 spots from a 10th place start is driver of the number 29 Chevy Camaro. That's Will Van Jr. He's doing a good job. Has good gap over the 64 from Brett Murphy. He's got just over a 4-second gap from him, so we're just ahead of the 59 of Grande. He's doing a great job as he works his way through turn number 3. Back in 9th is going to be the 64 of Brett Murphy. Looks like he's had a bit of an issue, has some rear end damage. Not elected to repair that yet. Stay out on track while we still maintain green flag conditions. He's down a couple spots, running in 9th from a 7th place spot to start tonight. Back in 10th, the driver of the number 16, Robert Quinn. He's up 5 spots from the 15th place start, but unfortunately down a lap to Jancic. So about almost 9 seconds back of Brett Murphy, so he may be someone who tries to use pit strategy to his advantage to see if he can gain any spots and prove that finish. You see he lets 77 of Lorenzo go, so good top 10 run though for Robert Quinn, and he's up 5 spots on the grid. Up 2 spots so far is the number 83 of Dan Oliver. He's trying to run just ahead of the 15 of Joe Gregory. Gregory's now just about 7/10 back. Oliver in the Haas Ford Mustang. Up a couple spots from 13th place start, running in 11th, doing a good job. The aforementioned Joe Gregory running in 12th. He's up 4 spots from 16th place. Start on the grid. It's got about a 1/4 second over the number 73 of Tokyo Baltimore. You see Baltimore trying to work closer to him as they work their way down the back stretch. Both of these drivers, both right now, are up 4 spots. So, Tucker Baltimore was your 17th place starter. Looks like he's going to quickly work on the inside of Oliver, or Gregory, excuse me. Baltimore up to 12th, Gregory back to 13th. Cam Anderson in the 39 of Mountain Dew Chevy Camaro. Running a couple spots down from where he started. He's currently in 14th place, still on track. He has scored 1 lap down 0 meters, so trying to do what he can. Derek Stanley, your 19's on pit road, and rounding out our field is the number 16 or 59 of Anthony Ferrante. It's the MSI Mustang, and on track. Actually, not scored on track now. He scored out of the race. It's the 69 Justin Gatem, so he's our first casualty for the event tonight. Let's walk through the field, jump back to the front. So we've got Jancic working his way. He's got about a half a straightaway lead over Zachary Thornton. Looks like he's had a little bit of a run in, some rear end damage. See if that affects him at all, or if he elects to fix that when he comes in. Still been turning some of the fastest lap times we see out on the track. Last time by was able to run a 23.65. It's about a 10.5 faster than anybody else on the track, so damage on the rear end does not seem to be affecting him as he closes up to the 64 of Brett Murphy. Let's put Murphy a lap down and leave us with just 8 cars on the lead lap tonight. Quickly approaching the halfway mark as we're working lap number 48. Seeing a very similar setup to last week. Drivers able to keep it clean. Some drivers haven't run into nothing that's really caused any trouble out on the track yet, so still green as we are slowly approaching our way to the halfway mark tonight. Go back as we're in a bit of a battle between the 91 of Kevin Kuchar and the number 20 of Brady Floyd. You see these two on the track as they approach their way across the start-finish line. Brady Floyd running in 5th, Char running in 6th. It's about 4 tenths. The gap translates to about 3 car lengths on the track as Char is trying to close his way up to Floyd. Floyd was a little bit faster by about a quarter of a second the last time by, but we'll see what the lap times do as they work their way off of turn number 4 across the start-finish line. You see Floyd with a little bit of a tag on the outside wall as he approaches the start-finish line. Last time by, Char was faster about a tenth. You see him closing the lane as he moves his way out of turn number 2. That's the gap to about a tenth. Floyd with another little bit of a push out of turn 2. Well, he's a little upset. Able to gather it back up. Both of these drivers are going to be working on the other side of Robert Wynn. Well, Char tags the back of Robert Wynn, gives him a little bit of a nudge. Wynn just a little shaky, but able to keep it going. We see green does slow up. Kevin Kucharski falls back a little bit from Brady Floyd. So, Brian Lorenzo, your first driver to choose to pit here. He's pitting out of the 3rd place. I believe that will be a planned pit stop. Should be able to go just on one stop again tonight, much like we saw last week. Looks like we're putting on a Cam Anderson also again, we like to thank all of you that tuned in to tonight's broadcast. Appreciate all of you, the drivers, appreciate your support. A lot of them are either watching this live while inside the car, or will go back and watch it after the race, so they love seeing your support out there. Appreciate that you're in this season of the Crazy Dog T-Shirts Xfinity Series. Seeing if Kuchar can try to close back up. He's definitely had a little bit more pace compared to Floyd. A tenth of a second faster than the last time by. This time by Floyd with the 10th of a second advantage, which you see Kuchar trying to do the best that he can. He's looking back to closes it again to about a car length. It's like going back to the backstretch. Kuchar with a massive dive. You see him almost get in the back end of Floyd. It's actually going to allow the number 59 of Anthony Ferranzo to get underneath Kuchar as he just drove it in hard into turn number 3, and that car did not quite stick. Shot way up the track and he had to jump out of it to try to save it. Seeing a few drivers that have made their way on into the road. You got both Lorenzo out there, as well as Bronte, Derek Stanley, Cam Anderson still on there. Lorenzo, Bronte, and Stanley on some pit stops here. Let's see if we start seeing them work their way through the field. The difference in the tires is pretty telling. It's almost 8 seconds and 3/4 between what the leader Fred Janzik ran the last time by and what Brian Lorenzo ran his last lap. So he's going to quickly try to make use of this first what you see. Bronte trying to take advantage of those fresh tires as well as he drives by both Kuchar and Brady Floyd. So not for a position battle, just trying to lead these 3, break away from them with the fresh tires. You see Kuchar trying to regain his composure, see if he can close back up to Brady Floyd, see if he can challenge again. Brady Floyd up 4 spots, starting 8th tonight, so not sure if the current hard charger was certainly doing a very good job considering himself on the top of the line. So we have working lap 59 of 100 tonight. These drivers are about 3/4 of a lap or so behind your leader. Leader's working his way out of turn number 3 this time. Across the start-finish line now. It's 2 turn number 3. So time's going to be of the essence. We'll see if they're trying to continue this battle and they think about leaving sooner. They're going to try to leave as few laps as possible. Once they make their pit stop, if it stays green all the way, to have as fresh tires as possible. Still haven't seen too many drivers break off that are into get rid of 5 drivers staying out. I'm not sure if they're trying to stretch this as far as they can or if they're expecting maybe a caution to happen. It's less and less likely as the field for the most part gets more and more spread out. Ranzo's really your big mover right now in terms of speed with those fresh tires, trying to take as big of advantage as he can. He's up to 10th place now. Closing on 73 though. by Janzik, so he's actually going to unlap himself, put himself back on the lead lap, and see if he can try to close up a little bit. He's down. He's not back on the lead lap yet. He's just down 1 lap. He was down 2 laps prior to getting by Janzik, so fresh tires definitely make a difference. Like I said, last lap, Janzik ran a 24.02 to give him perspective. Brian Lorenzo ran a 24.9, so a second faster. The tires have fallen off some, but it's going to continue to stay like that, and I don't know how long Janzik can afford to stay out there before he starts to run too much time. But get back to the battle between Floyd and Charles. Charles able to close it back up. Got about half a car length to go to get to the back end. Looks like he takes a little bit of a higher entry into turn number 3. Not much though. Tries to cut down underneath. Brady Floyd getting a pretty good drive off the turn number 4, stretching that lead back out to almost 2 car lengths. Back into turn number 1. So it seems like Charles driving a little bit deeper into the corners, able to close up the back of Floyd, and Floyd's just able to get off the corners a little bit better. That time not as great an advantage out of turn number 2 for Floyd. So you see Janzik drive to the inside, or excuse me, Charles drive to the inside. Almost got into the left rear of Floyd, but able to stay off of him. Gave Floyd a little bit of a better drive off the turn forward. It's kind of the ebbs and flows of these drivers. Running fixed setups where they all have the same suspension, steering, shocks, everything. But how you drive it and how you treat those tires can make a big difference between somebody being very fast and somebody being a bit slower. So that's kind of what you're seeing, where some of these drivers choosing to take those differences. Somebody may enter a little bit faster, somebody may enter a little bit slower, kind of changing it as they come out. See Lorenzo making big time up, almost gets in the back end of the chart. He's continuing to make up in the field. Fresh tires. Going underneath the car and going quickly to the outside of Floyd. Again, he's still only 1 lap down, so he's trying to pass as many cars as he can to see if he can put himself back into the top 3 for the end. If not, he can move from that place position and get it out of himself. He's quickly pulling away from these two. These two continue to battle on track. This is again a battle for 4th and 5th place on track. Really everybody else spread out like quite a bit. These two are the only two that seem to be around each other on the track at this time. So keep hearing you guys action. Laps are going off very, very quickly as we approach lap number 70. Jackson's running the backstretch now, so kind of the same thing that we saw last week. Clean and green almost the entire length of the race, so makes for a very quick night for these drivers if they can keep it that way. Brings in driving and on a pit strategy, yes, is going to do it and to come in. And they only still a couple drivers. It's supposed to be the ones to hit, so we'll see how that works out. Janzik's just faster lapping a lot of the field. There's only 5 drivers on the field. The back of the lead lap is actually these 2 right here, so we'll see how these drivers are able to continue. Janzik is going to close up to them. You can see him just coming off, so they got about a straightaway advantage over Janzik at the moment. We'll see if that changes things. I'm sure these two are going to be trying to drive their hardest to keep themselves on the lead lap if they can, but we'll see who wants to hit. I didn't think with field these drivers would be able to go the full amount of the race, but I guess these drivers may be able to field save a little bit and stay out, which if they think they can keep the field down far enough, that may be a viable strategy. I didn't really get to talk to many of the drivers beforehand and find out what they were seeing in the way of fuel mileage, so it'd be a very interesting development to see that happen. I'm not sure if anybody's going to be willing to roll the gamble, roll the dice, take the gamble on and make it work. Maybe somebody that's a little bit lower down in the points standings that feels like they need to take a big shot and try to make their way up through the field, up to the point standings early on, and try to take an all or nothing approach. We'll see. Both of these drivers continuing to engage in their battle. They've got the 19 of Derek Stanley just behind them. He is 2 laps down. we'll see Jantic most likely approaching relatively soon, as we're going to be approaching the 3-quarter way for this race. Jantic, we'll start to see approaching. Char finally able to get a little bit of a run. Both the drivers kind of getting a little bit soft turn number 2 down the backstretch. You see them both kind of wiggling and chasing their way down the backstretch. So, unfortunately, Char's just not able to complete that move around Brady Floyd doing all he can to stay off. Char tries it in deep, washes up, almost gets to the inside of Derek Stanley and bumps him. He falls back behind Janzik. Janzik's trying to figure out the best way to get around these two. Worked by Char with no issue now. Lining up Floyd. He's going to pull up to his back bumper. We size up and see which lane he wants to do. He's seeing Floyd on the inside. Stanley on the outside. Not sure which way to go. Floyd's really respectful. Kind of lets him by, but kind of crowds him a little bit. So Janzik makes contact with him. And then Char bumps with Floyd. So we put these two side by side again back into turn number 3. We've got just 24 laps to go. Quickly going to be approaching 23 to go as Janzik crosses the start-finish line. We'll see if Char can finally take advantage of a little bit of a break. It's bad luck from Floyd with some contact from Janzik. It's not quite able to clear up and get side by side. Middle of 1 and 2. Char with a slight bit of an advantage, but he just cannot get that drive off of the corner down the straightaways. Third Char, he pushes up the track, almost gets into the left side door of Floyd. These two are engaging in a great short track race. Oh, Floyd tags the outside wall. That's going to allow Char to start to pull away. We'll see if Char is able to stretch it out now that Floyd had a little bit of momentum to where Floyd's going to be able to close back up to him. You can see he's pushing it hard as he's getting kind of wiggly again around the backstretch. That's usually a sign that they're getting on the throttle a little too early, maybe a little too hard. Got a lot of left wheel to try to turn it, but Char trying to take advantage of that, stretches it out to almost a full second ahead of Floyd. So we'll see how that goes. Janzik really working inside of probably Valletta. He's going to put only 2 cars on the lead lap. Janzik is just putting on an absolute clinic. The only one that's even been able to stay in the same zip code to him as the 135 of Zachary Thornton. He's just under 3 seconds back on second. So right now he's not in any danger of down in the lead lap, but everybody just getting taken to school by Craig Janzik tonight. Brian Lorenzo's working his way back up through the field with those fresher tires. He's running in 7th right now. It's still far cry off of where he started. Janzik, just 19 to go. Trying to run this out. He's got 19 and Derek Stanley behind him. No pressure from anybody. You can see he's quickly pulling away from Harley Valletta. He's got about almost 3 seconds ahead of Valletta on the track. And he's got Valletta a full lap down, so that rear end damage for Janzik does not seem to be affecting him one bit at all. He's still running almost identical lap times to Thornton. Like I said, Thornton's the only one able to keep himself in the same zip code in terms of both full strategy and what they do. Lorenzo's currently running your fastest lap times on the track with the fresh tires, but it's not making a big enough difference to be able to get him there. He's still about half a lap, lap and a half down to Craig Janzik, so he's got a long way to go. A lot of cars to get himself through. He wanted to be the lucky dog should we get him kind of with his caution. Janzik dives to the inside of the 64 Brett Murphy and is also going to quickly work to the inside of the 16 Robert Wynn. Put both drivers in another lap down. It's going to put Brett Murphy as 2 laps down. Robert Wynn is 3 laps down now. Janzik's just got 16 laps to go. If he's able to stretch this on fuel, that'll definitely seem to have been the call of the race. It'll be interesting to hear his thoughts on that if that does happen. Thornton starting to fall back a little bit. Looks like last time by about half a time difference. So you can see that gap's now to just under 3.25 seconds. Janzik making that 2 machine run for its life. Just like I said, putting on an absolute clinic. Nobody else able to touch him, and he has executed his strategy flawlessly. I would imagine at this point, with just 14 laps to go, if he's able to make it, he's going to be going all the way, because if he thought there was any doubt he couldn't make it, he'd be coming there for a lot sooner. Trying to fresh tires and guarantee that he was going to make it all the way. So great call by Jancic so far. Had very few cars come to pit road for tires. It seems like a lot of people have kind of taken the same idea. They've been able to stretch it out. Lorenzo's worked his way by the 48 of Cloud. Let's bring it back. So we've got Richard moving his way up the field. He was able to get by the 81 of Harley Berletta, and you see the number 83 of Dan Oliver working inside of these drivers. He's on the fresh tires, making it work. But we're going to see if Barletta can try to close back up to Kuchar. Right now, that puts Kuchar in a podium spot, even though he's one lap down. He's moved his way up third place. We're starting fourth, kind of falling back to the field a little bit. He's had a very good rebound in the late stages. You see Brett Murphy on the outside, retaining wall in the backstretch. Everybody dodging low to avoid him, but he's still staying green. It's like last time by, Kuchar was about a tenth, almost a tenth and a half faster than Barletta this time by, almost 4 tenths of a second, over 4 tenths of a second for Kuchar. So it's really by him. He's closing, pulling away quite a bit. Last time by though was still about a tenth and a half slower than Zachary Thornton, and he's over a full lap down to Thornton. So don't see the chances of him closing that gap up with just 10 laps to go, but you never know. We have definitely seen late race drama happen here. Crazy Dog T-Shirts Xfinity Series. Good job by these drivers, though, giving us a great run out there. Definitely stretched that gap out from Barletta. He's like just a second. Again, about a tenth and a half faster than Barletta the last time by. So I'm gonna go back through the field as Brian Lorenzo's trying to do his best to work his way up. He was able to not quite clear the 20 of Brady Floyd, but this time in the turn number one's gonna be able to clear him. So Brian Lorenzo up into the top 5. He might fall a little bit short of a well, he might not fall short of the top 3. He works his knee inside of Harley Berletta, so he's moving ferociously with those fresh tires, trying to get back to third place and at least say that that pit strategy was break even for him. He's got just under a second and a half to go to be able to get to number 91 of Kevin Kuchar, so keep it on in. You see Kevin Kuchar just in the front of your screen momentarily. He's got about half to 2/3 of a straightaway advantage over Brian Lorenzo. Lorenzo certainly trying to get the most out of these tires. Looks like we got another driver, or another fan tuning in for Dan Oliver. Oliver certainly getting a lot of support out in the chat. Appreciate everybody tuning in, watching, all the other drivers on track, just love your support. As I mentioned, all the drivers appreciate all of the fans tuning in as well. Just 5 laps to go. Lorenzo closing that gap down. He's got it down to 6:10. So we'll see if this develops right quick battle. Third place, closing stages of this race. Lorenzo trying to do what he can to get back to the place. He's making those fresh tires work to his advantage. Closes in gobs of time. Last time by, he was about 4 tenths of a second faster. This time by, still about 4 tenths of a second faster than Kevin Kuchar, so it seems inevitable that Kuchar may lose to Lorenzo. Lorenzo dives off to the inside, down the backstretch, almost has Kuchar cleared. Looks like Lorenzo's able to pull himself back by Kuchar, move his way back into third place. Again, he's out almost a full lap and a half back from Jancic, which is 3 to go. He is the lucky dog should a late race caution come out, which we did see happen last week, but I would say if it goes green the rest of the way, that's not going to happen. I like to see late race drama, and I'm one to, take a risk, but I don't think I'm going to take a risk betting that Lorenzo's going to be able to get back on the lead lap before the end of this one. Like, just 2 to go. We're going to go back, so we've got Harley Berletta quickly coming under the attack of the number 20 of Brady Floyd. About 4 tenths back from Barletta. As we get the white flag. These two are going to try to finish this off, but Janzik's working his way through the middle of turn number 1 and turn number 2, back onto the backstretch for the final time tonight. So no matter what happens, we do get a caution. The race will be done. Janzik will be your race winner as he works his way off of turn number 4 for the final time. Janzik crosses the stripe, leads it from start to finish. Great run by him. Zachary Thornton finishes in second place. Great recovery after last week. You're going to see Lorenzo come across in third. Kevin Kuchar quickly works his way across, finishes in fourth. And Harley Valletta able to hold off a charge from the late race stages from Brady Floyd. It's your top 5. So we'll give all these drivers a chance to get themselves cool, get out of the cars, and join us in the booth. A few moments to cool down. Got to see a green flag run from start to finish. Certainly a great job by Janzik, able to keep it clean. So wasn't sure if we were going to see it or if we were going to see some short track action, some tempers and people getting upset, but we definitely saw what was just an absolute clinic by Janzik tonight, but a really clean race overall by all 3 drivers. Every driver on the track, really. Like I said, we saw some drivers have issues, but a lot of the drivers were able to keep themselves clean, keep it under control, keep ourselves green. So again, we'll give these drivers a few moments to cool themselves down, get out of the car. You see Janzik quickly enjoying his celebration as he gets his first victory for this season. Alright, looks like we've got drivers making their way to the booth, so while we give them just a couple more minutes, want to take another moment to thank Crazy Dogs T-shirt.com in Rochester, New York for coming on and sponsoring this league. I know they were a late addition to the league. They've been a valued partner for this. Without them, certainly wouldn't have been able to put on this season, and we greatly thank them for coming on board. If you're ever in need of any printed t-shirts, graphic design, or anything, feel free to check them out. We'll have a link in the description box for them, and we appreciate them for being a valued supporter of the league. Looks like we've got our 3 drivers in, so we are going to bring in driver of the number 77, Brian Lorenzo.
Again.
Got
Oh,
the
hello.
pleasure speaking with the 3rd place finisher, Brian Lorenzo, driver of the 77 Chevy Camaro. Brian, another great run. Looked like strategy might not have quite played out in your hands. Tell me what you saw out there tonight.
It was fun out there tonight. Uh, for the going on the strategy, I knew I had to do something different if I want to win the race. Decided to pit early there. Messed up by not checking my tires, so I had to pretty much make a whole other stop. But it almost worked. Still got third. Worked hard for it, but it was really fun out there today.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of drivers were fighting that kind of tight in the center, loose off condition that we know when right fronts tend to wear out. Did you feel like the setup was pretty balanced and you didn't struggle too with it, or did you seem to notice that be a trend?
Yeah, it's a great setup. It was a great balance for me. Just in that first run, I burnt up my tires too much trying to pass Craig because track position is so important at this track. So I burnt up going for it, but again, it was just a great race.
Yeah, I gotta say, I was wondering if we were gonna see either a clean and green race like we had tonight, or if we were gonna see some tempers flare and fireworks all over the place with short track. Richmond, do you feel like that tends to be one where physicality comes into play, or do you kind of see these races that stretch out and get these long green flag runs?
Yeah, definitely physical. Richmond is definitely on both sides of that. It definitely got physical when we were battling each other close. but we respectfully battled each other. We didn't really bang with each other or anything like that. We were just giving each other room and trying to have fun out there. But yeah, once we got on that long run, it turned into the tire game. Whoever was best in the long run pulled away and definitely showed. Craig definitely showed out there.
Well, certainly great job. Glad to see you back in the top three tonight. Anybody you want to send a shout out to or a thank you to before we let you go tonight?
I got to thank the people in the car. I got to thank Bronx Community College. They're on the car for today. It's great to rep the school, and I'm excited to go there next year. Got to thank the family at home. Crazy Dogs T-shirts for sponsoring the league, and 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 you guys at the broadcasting booth.
Congratulations on a great third place finish tonight, and looking forward to seeing you the rest of the season.
See ya.
All right, we are going to get in the booth our second place finisher, Zachary Thornton. Zachary Thornton, Jake Fiscannon here in the booth. Got a copy?
Yep.
Awesome. Glad to get to talk to you for the first time this season. I know I saw you struggle a little bit last week at Las Vegas, and you certainly did a great job rebounding this week. How did the car feel for you tonight?
The car was pretty good. I was able to do pretty well with the tires for most of the race, so I had some better tires than I know a lot of the people that were running towards the back. I mean, they were struggling on tires. Had good strategy, never pit. That was a long 100 laps, but we did good racing for all of it. Craig was really quick. I wish I would have had something for him. I wish we had a late caution, so I could have been with him, but second place is still very good compared to last week where I had terrible luck.
Yeah, it seemed like from what we could tell from the timing, you were keeping pace with Janzik right there at the end of the race. The last probably 15 or 20 laps or so, you were right on pace with him. Do you feel like maybe you might have done something a little bit different at the beginning of the race that might have changed being able to stay with him, or do you think he was just that much faster tonight?
Well, I think if I had a little bit better of a start and was able to stay in front of Brian, that might have helped like a little bit. But and just in total, I think Craig would have still got it because he was really quick.
Yeah, we noticed you kind of come under the clutches of Brian at the start. Seemed like he was pushing pretty hard, but you were able to do a good job rebounding and get back by him. Did you have the plan to go the full 100 laps without pitting, or were you just going to see what everybody else
Well,
had did?
so I didn't even notice we could go green. We could make it on fuel for the whole race until like lap like 30-ish. So then I was like, well, I'll see what Craig does. So then Craig doesn't pit, so I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna stay out the whole time. Which I don't know. I didn't realize at the start of the race, which I wish I would have, but I don't know. It was I don't know.
Well, it certainly seems like it worked out pretty well because you were able to bring it home in second place. So I would call that a pretty successful night. Anybody that you want to send a shout out to or a thank you tonight before we let you go celebrate that second place finish?
Well, I'd like to shout out people who have been working with, which was Brady Floyd and Will Cloud. Thanks for working with me for that race. And then thanks James for putting on the series and thank you for broadcasting.
Certainly great job tonight. We look forward to more continued success the rest of the season.
Yep.
All right, we are going to get our race winner, driver of the number 02, Craig Janzik. Craig Janzik put on a clinic race winner tonight. I don't have many other words to say other for that performance. How did that feel for you inside the car?
It was one of the best races that I've driven on the simulator. That's for sure. It was. I realized really early on what we were going for here, like lap 5. So I really went into right front savings mode right away, right from lap 5, because I knew that most people wouldn't even be looking at the fuel number that early into the race. And I figured, hey, if Zachary and Brian wanted to go by at any point, I probably would have let them go without much of a fight for that reason. But as soon as I saw the fuel was going to be good to the end, I knew what the goal was going to be because the Xfinity cars on short tracks have a very early tire plateau. So I ran the same lap on lap 33 as I ran with 15 to go in the race. So 33 and 84 were almost identical lap times. So that's when you kind of know that you hit that plateau really early, and if you don't, pitting would mean nothing because he would hit that plateau within 33 laps. So Yeah, I don't have much to say. I don't have much to say either. It really was one of the best races that I've ever driven on here, though.
Yeah, certainly. It seemed like I commented to the all the viewers out there that I wasn't sure if everybody was going to be able to stretch it out on field. We knew last week at Las Vegas that the cars weren't able to quite go that far. It seems like you needed a little bit of luck in the rest of the field keeping it clean in order for that strategy to be able to work out to perfection, and everybody was able to do that. Comment, let me know if you thought tonight was going to be a bit of a bump and grind and a little bit of a caution fest, or if you expected this to kind of stretch out and go green as long as it did tonight.
I think we were prepared for the worst, which would be a caution fest, but ready ready for the best, which is what the outcome was here. I definitely think that Richmond's a driver's track for sure, and short tracks and road courses are definitely probably my specialty and preferred driving in this not drive racetracks in the simulator. So I was really hoping for a long green run like we got here. I mean, geez, we've done 2 races and we've had one caution. And as a league, that's something that everybody should be really proud of, and it's something that a lot of people are probably going to start to take note of as we as we progress along here. So I don't know how long it might last, but if people feel like they can turn up the aggression, then we're certainly going to see more cautions.
Yeah, you're certainly making my job easier. We had a couple drivers kind of had a bit of an issue there. We saw some drivers wearing off that right front and having issues, especially out of turn two. We saw some guys getting into the outside retaining wall, getting a little squirrely. Did you feel like the setup was pretty balanced and that might have been just a difference in driving style, or did you feel like the setup might have been on the tight side tonight?
If you didn't make the brake bias at least 5% to the rear from the start of the run, you would definitely feel way too much right front heat, and you would be knocking down the fence out of two. The exit at two at Richmond is one of the trickiest corners in NASCAR, in my opinion. And being prepared for that, knowing that you have to send the brakes to the rear so that you can drive off that right rear a little bit more right from the start was definitely crucial. I think to the success that you saw Zach and I have on the no stop strategy for sure. There's a lot of little things that you can do with your driving style, like knowing that with short with the Xfinity car, the first 5 laps of the run kind of dictate your entire tire life. It's kind of like what we're seeing with the next gen now in real life. Goodyear keeps saying that the first 5 laps of the run is why so many people are losing right rears, which I guess we'll see if that's actually true or not eventually, but it's certainly true here in the simulator. And if you take care of those tires early, you are rewarded late. And I think that's really what you saw here.
I definitely think we saw you put on the absolute clinic in that. Anybody you want to send a shout out to or a thank you to tonight before we close out the evening and you go celebrate the win?
Yeah, huge thanks to Crazy Dog T-shirts. They've come on as a league sponsor without knowing much of anything about us, and I think that we've showed them that as a league we have a lot to offer in terms of positivity. So great shout out to them. Great shout out to you guys, Goon Squad, Racing TV, for what you guys do here for these broadcasts. Thanks to Nexus Esports, the Free Beer and Hot Wings Show, Digital Sim Sports, everybody on the car from me, and all the viewers out there, especially mom, dad, and auntie for watching this one. I really appreciate it.
Well, go enjoy that victory. I'm sure they're very proud to see you bring it home in the winner's circle, and we look forward to more continued success for the rest of the season.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
All right, everybody. That was your race winner, Greg Janzik. We'll get a quick rundown of the results tonight. Not much to say. Like Janzik said, it was the cleanest race of the season. Only one caution so far, so these drivers certainly are holding themselves to a very high standard to begin the season. Race winner, driver the number 2, Craig Janzik, Zachary Thornton in the 135, able to bring it home in second. Brian Lorenzo in the 77, able to rebound after that pit stop, bring himself back up to third. Kevin Kuchar able to hang on to a fourth place finish in the 91. Harley Belletta also able to hold off a late charge from Brady Floyd, bring it home in fifth place. You can see the rest of the field there. 17 drivers. Everybody was able to turn laps. We had some drivers bail out at different times, but overall, just an absolute clinic by Janzik. And the field really, again, I can't say enough about how clean everybody was. Everybody had a few mistakes, but able to regroup and really do a great job. So, looking forward to much success the rest of the season. Hopefully, we should get even more of these great on track battles and continue to bring it forward. So, for me, for Team Goon Squad, for Crazy Dog T-shirts, for the Xfinity series, for everybody here, My name's Jacob Fescannon, thanking you for tuning in to another exciting round, and we look forward to seeing you here at the same time, same place next week. Have a good night, everybody.